Hello. Today I want to address the subject of trauma bond and how my limited editions are more than likely not to be able to sustain themselves in a trauma bond relationship. I'll give my definition of trauma bond. Trauma bonding can be between like a Stockholm where you have a loyalty and connectedness to a person who has a history of abuse towards you, or from your history of abuse and you connect to someone who's similar to what you've been through in the past. And somehow it's like they see a part of you that's so shameful, that's so hurtful, that you have to live with, and you see that reflected in that person. And it's a dynamic that's toxic, but some people, or unlimited edition people, they have the ability, not all, this is for the ones it applies to, connect to a person who does not have the healing energy or ability to self-soothe and move forward on their own. So they bond with someone who understands their pain. Having said that, you have a person who is not only bonding with someone that has that pain. Now I'm sharing my secrets with you. You're sharing your secrets with me. This is still talking about the trauma bonding part. And now you're with someone with the lowest parts of you and the most hurtful parts of you. They know it. They know your secrets. They know what no one else knows. They understand you in a way no one else might understand you. And you have this relationship with someone that's built on a toxic foundation. So this is someone you'll never really, you can move along through with life, but you're never going to have success and stay there. Because when you have two unhealed people who are building a bond on their unhealed nature, you really need someone that could think out the box to pull you out of that old way of thinking, that routine way of thinking, that habit. And you don't have that. And if you try it, it doesn't last long, because you're not doing it from a place where you want to be different. You want to move different. You want to do different. So I'm bringing this up because as a person who is dealing with or living as a limited edition, where I'm not having the ability to flourish with a painful cycle of you talk to me nasty, or you may be kind of disrespectful, but you do nice things for me. That doesn't last with persons like that. I'm one of those. So we may have a relationship where I recognize, it doesn't feel right, because that's usually what it is. We have the feeling that this isn't right, or if the person's not being honest and they're pretending that they're being good, but they're actually going to use your weakness against you to keep you near. Once that uncomfortable feeling and that repetition of making you feel bad or putting you in situations where you can't progress emotionally and spiritually, I don't want to get into spirituality right now, but it's like something inside you just doesn't connect to that. So as a person who is limited in their social abilities to be able to show some real strong emotions for a negative relationship, it just doesn't happen. Not for a long time. It may be for a part of a time, but as a person matures and grows and learns, and that's a big thing also with people who are limited editions. Growing, learning, figuring it out, being not unstoppable, but that may be a word to use, but they don't stop until they reach their goal. And we need goals. Just to wake up and just be is not a thing for most of us. We can't just be. We have to be in an environment that's stimulating us, whether it's be reading, something that interests us, an activity. We get engorged in that. We can focus on something that we like for hours and do it until we become a master at it. And a lot of times that blocks out other people. So we can seem like we don't like people or don't want people, but we're just hyper-focused on what our interests are, because that's the world we live in. Had this been a regular therapy session or a different professional conversation, I would use the word codependency. I wouldn't necessarily use trauma bond. But that's a common term. Many people understand it, so I'm flexible. But that's just a level of codependency that is just, it don't only leave you in stagnation, it just stops you. Now, I'm bringing this up Because depending on your friends, family, or how you grow up, many people, they have ways of communicating, like the unlimited editions. They can still be around you and talk with you and be with you and have a sense of loyalty in a certain way, as far as the connection of no matter what happens, me and you, it's going to be me and you. Even though we're not building and improving anything, we just have time. We just have more time. We don't have anything more that matches that time. So sometimes when you're dealing with someone who wants you to do what they want, they may try to pick at your weaknesses, and we have quite a few of them, and our weakness may be not recognizing the lies right away, especially if it's from a person that's in our life who's there for us to trust. And society says you trust it. Like, this is mom. If your mom telling you that, we all disagree with mom. But if mom is being abusive, if she's taking advantage of you, or she's exploiting you because you don't have the ability to fight back or argue, and you become over compliant, which is a thing. Sometimes, we can have concrete thinking like, okay, this is right, we're going to do this, this is wrong. We don't do that. And if you're in an environment where that's confusing, they want you to act well and be good when you know this is the wrong thing. Because that's what some people do. They know hanging out with certain people, going certain places, the person that they're in a relationship with, or the family member that is sharing a home with them, or whatever the relationship is, they're going to do the negative thing anyway, but they'll overlook it because they know, okay, I know how they are, I'm like that. Whereas the black and white thinking for us is, if it's wrong, it's wrong. You just don't do it. And also, the people who are codependent can be very loyal to people for the position that person holds in their life. It could be their mother, father, cousin, brother, whatever. They are able to have a loyalty to these people just strictly to the position that they hold in their life. Whereas many of the limited editions, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're my mom, dad, uncle, grandpa, it don't matter. Once you violate me and make me feel bad and make me feel uncomfortable, and I can't have my needs met, and you're forcing me out of my world to pay you unnecessary attention just so you can feel in control, we don't do well with that. And that is seen as being a negative, as you are pushing back, rebellious. It's like they don't want you to have free will. Manipulation is big. Manipulation is a tactic, and it's a way many people communicate to get what they want from the other person, which is why social cues is such a big deal for us and recognizing them. Because a person who's supposed to be good to you and understand your boundaries are not supposed to cross them. But if you're in a codependent relationship where you're not coming from a healthy place, you're not trying to get better and move on, you're going to repeat the cycle. And there's also another thing. And many times in these trauma bonded relationships, they'll get together because they have a history or a family incident or whatever that bonds them. And they become like that type of abuser to the person that they bonded with. So it's like they're abusive to each other in a certain way, but they'll still hold that person in a high, not status, but they'll hold them to a high regard, because at the end of the day, this person is just like me. They remind me of me. They understand me. I'm like that. And it can seem strange to persons like us, because it's like, if this person is going to sit there and be very engaged and loyal to a relationship that's not consistent, that brings harm, that makes you cry, that makes you not even want to do anything, and then they can turn around and lift you up. That whole up and down of, I'm going to be good to you, then bad, nice to you, then not. That's a tactic for abuse. That's a tactic for control. And many people who have a history or a habit of manipulating and controlling people and not even really knowing who they are or wanting. Like I'm saying, these are people that are not healed, but they're connecting together and they're presenting themselves as if they are, as if we're good how we are. But if they get with a person like me or the people who have limited ability to take in all that negative stimulation and still be productive. It doesn't work. So many times it's like they're fighting against our neurological limitations. Like, I really can't think the way you think. I really can't feel connected to you when you do negative things. And they're looking at you like, shoot, everybody else deals with it. They put up with it. Why can't you? So it becomes a personal dig at you. It's almost like they're coming at you to, like, they see you as a challenge. They see you as a challenge, and they're challenging the way you are literally made, the way your mind works, the way your emotions connected to others or lack of. They want what they want. And it's like there's no accepting that you're unable to do what they want you to do. I can't smile with you after you just yelled, scream at me, and took something from me. Now I have to talk good about you and sit there and be with you. We don't get that. We want our own space. We get overwhelmed. And I'm going to touch on something because you have people who are on the spectrum or, just some pervasive issues with communication and cognitive. When they're overstimulated and the negativity, you keep picking at them because you see them as weak. They're dependent upon you. You know who their friends are. You know who their family are. Like, you have reach to everything that matters to them. They'll go at you because they figure you can't really fight back. Then you'll hear, oh, they spazzed. Like, one of us will just, we'll get, like, when I was younger, I told you I would fight. So you get to the point where you defend yourself. But the difference is they're fighting you to win you over to what they want. You're fighting because you want this to stop forever. So you're fighting about the same thing for a different outcome. And that's where they see you as rebellious. And it sounds weird. And if you get it, you get it. And hopefully it's helpful to you to validate that mindset of trying to get you to be committed to them and see them in a certain regard and trust them. Although everything you're doing is the opposite of that, we're not able to do it. We're more logical. It's like our whole life is very logical, the way we see life. Even if it's weird to you, if it makes sense to us and it's not hurting anyone else, we're good with it because we don't prey on other people. It's hard to get out of our world. That's why they make us look them in the eye. They make us talk to them. They make us say things, when to say hi, when to smile, where to sit. They constantly remind you how other people feel because we're in our world. And so they see it as you're choosing because they're around. You have so many more people around who are willing or accustomed to making nice with what doesn't feel nice, making good with what doesn't look good. So they kind of treat you like you're living in an unrealistic world because you want your world to be of peace, and your peace is not having someone over you, coming at you emotionally, disrupting your day, moving stuff that you put, because we can be particular because we don't usually ask or need a lot. But what belongs to us, we take care of it and we keep it out of others' way. And then many times when you're around someone who's trying to get you to see them as a valid reason for you to stay around them and see them as more important so they can have some control in your life, that sends us the whole way back and we'll leave. We'll leave. I said, I have a new understanding on why quite a few, and this is not to be funny, but some people on the spectrum, they just leave, they just run away. Now, I know there are cognitive issues and there's a danger to it if you're not able to, be safe. But even if you are an adult and you're old enough, and like I said, you're a professional, you're able to get a great job, you're able to take care of yourself. Although the social limitations make it more difficult, you rather go the difficult route by yourself than stay and feel, quote unquote, safe and secure, bonded to something that is just toxic, that is just making you feel down and beat down every day. So I wanted to bring this up because I think it's important to understand that many times the people that's in disagreement with how you do things and see you as rebellious and and just refusing to be cooperative, they're fighting against your limitations. And your limitations stop you from connecting to things that overstimulate you, being cursed at or being yelled at or being put in a situation that's unfair. That's overstimulating because you're put in a position where you're constantly open and available to people who may group together and all say, yeah, she is silly, she is different, he is weird. You know how he is. He's different. He's weird. And they will bring other people. Like I said in other videos, but there's strength in numbers. And so when you feel overstimulated, you might want to go be alone. Sleep, rest, go in your own space. And they will literally talk about you being in your own space, come in your space, touch your stuff, do just little things it's like being bullied. It really is like being bullied, because your need to rule your world is very offensive to another person who needs to bond with you by having control over you. Now, you're not trying to control them back, and you may see like, why can't we just get along? I like this, you like that, because the truth is we live in our world even though we're of their world, right? So we put up with a lot. But because they see the way they live as normal and how they judge you should be acting as normal, it gets very hard to deal with. It gets to be a painful situation. It can feel, it can make you question, what is going on? What am I supposed to do? And that causes the isolation and depression to really come on us a lot. When someone's over engaging us, giving us advice we don't want, not agreeing how we want to live, how we want to walk, how we want to talk, how we want to dress. Just have a comment and an opinion on us just being us. That lack of control without being able to, because there are people who are the unlimited. You'll have spouses talk about how I want your hair like this, I want you to walk like this, I want you to be like this. And they'll do that because they see value in that relationship, because they need that bond, that codependency, that negative lock-in. I know your dirty secrets, you know my dirty secrets. We know we're going to do this together or no matter what. And it's like, we're not capable of doing that. Our minds need to grow. It needs to be stimulated in a positive way where we can see there's more. We need joy, a joy that comes from within, a joy that we can connect to outside of us. It's like we cannot find joy in someone that's trying to rule us or make our life what they say it should be. It is, I'll speak more on this, and I hope it wasn't too confusing, but I just thought it was really important to realize that many of us feel bullied and picked on because the way many people bond, be it through a negative or a codependent relationship where they're relying on the other person to see what they do. If you do this, then I know to do that. We don't do that. We do what we do. I've been told, oh, you just live like you want to live. You just do what you want to do. You just free. And I'm like, gosh, that's so horrible. I don't have all this access to anything. I don't have all this money. I don't have all these friends. I don't have all these things you have. And you're really coming at me because the small world I have, I can do whatever I want in it. And it's like, it really irritates them. The fact that you have peace within your world, they can't do it because their peace comes from others, connecting with others, be it positive or negative. Negative attention is attention. And we don't need all that much attention. That is upsetting to them as well. So they could, I just want you to know that a lot of times they're going after your not lack of ability, but you're not made that way. You have an internal way of being that you can connect to, and they don't. We'll get into that in another video. They are not, many of these people who are especially the codependent ones cannot connect to anything internal. They're so far from that. But it's like we come in a world where we're so connected to ourselves. They have to pull us out of it and make us say hi and all this stuff because we'll be good if you let us, But I wanted to bring that up because it is a thing, and it feels abusive, and it is if you're a person who's enjoyed their space and their time and their rest away, and you just don't want yourself touched. You don't just want them to leave you alone. And that can be so, it's just very, how can I say? I'm sorry, I'm losing the word, but it's emotional for me to even speak about it because making these videos and finding out, I have to relive a lot of these moments to share this with you. I have to relive it. And as you know, putting words and emotions to speaking about these things that we really can't explain is not easy. So if you know, this is a work, but I'm trying to go for it. I'm trying to bring it out there because when I was looking for someone to give me insight on what's happening with me, I would have done anything to come across a video like this, especially someone with my complexion or, familiar, background and the community I come from. So I just wanted to touch on that codependency is something we can't do. We can't do codependency. We can't trauma bond. And we end up alone a lot because we need the lack of stimulation, that negative stimulation. We need a lack of that. We need to be able to have control over what we engage in and how we decide. We need to have the option to say no. Okay? We need to be able to say no, and not you or the group of people you talk with or whatever you're doing. Y'all should not get together to make me feel anything less than because I say no when you would say yes. So I wanted to share that. I hope it's helpful for someone. I'll be back. Talk to you soon. Bye.